Attention! This video did not appear on your screen by chance. If you are watching it now, it is because you were magnetically drawn to this message. Subscribe now and share with those who have also been marked by the awakening. This message needs to reach all the chosen ones before the great change begins. Turn on the notification bell. Every second lost is wasted energy. Your destiny awaits on the other side of this button. They didn't vote to save you. They voted to decide what to do with you when that changes absolutely everything. You weren't supposed to know. You weren't supposed to feel the shockwave until it was too late. But you did, didn't you? That subtle vibration that runs through your body in the early hours of the morning when the world still sleeps. That sense that something profound is moving beneath the surface of your reality. That intuitive knowing that you are not like everyone else, that there is a greater purpose for your existence on this plane. And now that you know everything is speeding up, the cosmic gears turn faster, the veil between worlds grows thinner, and your perception expands into dimensions you only intuited existed. The vote didn't take place in some random government building. It wasn't humans who decided your fate. It was something much older, much deeper, a convergence of forces that shaped entire civilizations, rewrote timelines, and erased entire existences with a single thought. And among the billions of souls breathing at this, the very moment they spoke your name, you were chosen, not for your superficial talents, not for your momentary charisma, but for the singular way your mere existence folds the fabric of destiny. While others spend their lives avoiding pain, following ephemeral trends, or echoing borrowed voices, you have always felt something invisible pulling you toward a place you could neither see nor touch. It didn't make sense at the time, it shouldn't have. But now the pieces are starting to fit together, aren't they? That constant feeling of not belonging, that restlessness that won't let you settle where everyone else seems happy to be. That discomfort when you try to force yourself to accept the ordinary reality that satisfies so many around you. This was no random call, it was a cosmic decision. They discussed what kind of power would be allowed to awaken within you, what kind of transformation your arrival would bring about, whether the world would bear what you are about to become. They didn't give you a warning, they gave you a window. And that window is opening right now as your eyes scan these words, as your heart races with a profound recognition that transcends intellect and touches the very essence of your being. Maybe you thought your story was just beginning, but the truth is that you have been placed here in the middle of the script because you have been living a lie. Your reality has been silenced, restricted, for your safety and the safety of others. But that container is failing, and you feel it. That restless ache in your chest is no ordinary anxiety. It is the pressure of a pent-up power trying to break through the cracks in your consciousness. Look closely around you. Pieces are moving. People are acting strangely. Patterns are emerging. Signs that once seemed random now seem tattooed into your DNA. That number you keep seeing, that recurring dream, that person who crosses your path again and again. None of these are coincidences. You are being called. No, you are being remembered. And you are not in danger. You are the danger. Not to people, but to the illusions, to the false systems, to the entire invisible architecture designed to keep you asleep. They voted, and the verdict was this: that you remember who you really are, that you awaken to your true purpose. But it was not just a vote on whether to unleash your potential. It was a vote on what would happen to everything around you when you finally awakened. Because you were not simply chosen. You were built piece by piece, detail by detail. Every aspect of your being was designed, created in silence, molded under extreme pressure, forged in the fires of trials that seemed unfair, but were absolutely necessary. The loneliness you felt throughout your life wasn't a cosmic accident. It was intentional. The failures that seemed to crush your dreams were strategically placed in your path. The people who abandoned you when you needed them most were also part of the divine equation. You see, the chosen ones aren't born with open doors. They're born with locked gates and no apparent keys. They are forged in the cauldron of rejection, in constant resistance, in challenges that would break the average person. Every time you've wondered why your path was so difficult, while others seemed to float through life without obstacles, it was because your path wasn't meant to be walked smoothly. It was meant to be set ablaze by your own inner strength. You weren't created to fit in, to follow established rules, or even to lead in the traditional sense that we know. You were created to disrupt patterns, to break cycles, to bring the necessary chaos that precedes all great transformation. You are encoded with a different frequency, and that's why the average person can't really understand you. That's why he always felt like he was half here, half somewhere else, divided between the visible and invisible worlds, between what is and what could be. Your origin is not this limited place. You were placed here as a trigger for transformation, not as a minor character in the story of humanity, but as an intentional error in the system, an anomaly programmed to awaken at exactly the right moment. There are parts of you that you have been taught to ignore, to repress, even to medicate. That inner voice that kept repeating, "You are different, you don't belong here, there is something greater for you." It wasn't lying. It was your original self trying to re-emerge amidst the constant noise of the social matrix. And every day that voice becomes louder, clearer, more impossible to ignore. The resistance you feel now becomes almost unbearable because your own self-inflicted limits are literally suffocating who you really are. Every job you hate, every relationship that drains your energy, every environment that dims your light, they are all just external reflections of the internal war between who you were programmed to be and who you truly are in your cosmic essence. And this truth is awakening within you with a volcanic force that no social programming can contain any longer. Understand once and for all, you are not becoming the chosen one. You always were. Only now is the veil falling, the cosmic amnesia dissolving, and you are beginning to recover fragments of memory of your true nature. But before you can fully step into the power that is yours by spiritual birthright, there is something crucial you must deeply understand. You are not here just to rise as an individual. You are here to break through the artificial structures that have told you who you should be, to break through the illusions that have kept you waiting for permission to shine, to break through the unhealthy cycles that have been repeated in your blood, in your mind, in your self-limiting habits. You are the divine interruption, the sacred anomaly, the spark that should not have happened according to the controller's plans, but did anyway. And that is precisely why everything is getting harder before it gets better. The three-dimensional world does not know how to handle a being like you awakening to your full potential. Control structures were designed to contain sleeping people, not to support the frequency of someone fully aware of their creative power. You've been feeling it, haven't you? The pressure building in the air around you, the change in the way time moves, sometimes speeding up exponentially, other times slowing to a near standstill. You notice it in the way people look at you lately. More curious, more wary, more intensely attracted or repelled by your presence. Some feel an inexplicable pull toward you without knowing why. Others instinctively shy away as if you're emitting a frequency their systems can't process. Have you ever walked into a room and completely changed the energy of the place without saying a word? This isn't superficial charisma, it's cosmic vibrancy, it's radiating presence. You're literally bending the space around you simply by existing at your natural frequency. For weeks, maybe months, you've felt disconnected from your former self, as if you're in limbo between versions of yourself. You try to go back to the old habits, the old conversations, the old goals that once seemed so important, and now they all feel empty, false, like clothes that no longer fit. This is not failure, it is accelerated evolution. The person you used to be is shedding like an old skin, and beneath it, something ancient, Something powerful, something that has always been there is finally awakening. Here's the part that almost no one tells you about this awakening process. It hurts deeply, shattering your constructed identity, watching your ego collapse, experiencing the deafening silence before your true inner voice emerges. All of this constitutes a sacred disorientation that few are willing to face. And if you feel lost right now, know that you are exactly where you are supposed to be. You are not lost. You are navigating between dimensions of yourself, between your limiting programming and your unlimited potential, between what the world expected of you and who you truly are at your primal essence. This is the breaking point, the critical moment of your soul's alchemical transmutation. Don't run from it. Don't seek comfort in old illusions. Because if you bravely walk through this portal, if you face every shadow that tries to convince you that you are still small, limited, and powerless, you will unlock a version of yourself that no longer responds to fear. A version that does not ask for permission to exist in its full potential. A version that remembers where it came from and why it is here. And once you remember your true nature, there is no way back from the spiritual sleepwalking in which most of humanity still lives. You were never being tested by the superficial circumstances of life alone. That's the grand illusion. You were being tested by something that operates behind the scenes of visible reality. Not by the situations themselves, but by the energy that lurks behind them, by the hidden patterns within the pain, by the intelligence that underlies the apparent chaos. The setbacks were never random. They were riddles coded specifically for you. Every betrayal, every closed door, every frustrating delay was designed not to stop you, but to meticulously shape you. Not to transform you into something new, but to reveal what you've always been, beneath the layers of social conditioning. The real test was never whether you would survive physically, it was whether you would remember spiritually, whether you would recognize the messages encoded within the moments that seem to be destroying you, whether you would wake up in the midst of the fire and realize that you were the flame all along. It's easy to stay asleep when everything is comfortable and predictable, but you were deliberately forged in hardship, not because you are cursed, but because you were called to a mission that transcends the ordinary. They weren't just testing your physical or mental endurance. That would be too obvious, and anyone can appear strong when the sun is shining and the path is smooth. The real test was hidden between the lines of your experience. They were testing your restraint, your ability to carry extraordinary power without flaunting it prematurely, your ability to see what others cannot and yet not lose your sanity in waiting for the right moment, your ability to know within yourself that you are fundamentally different and yet walk among those who sleep without demanding constant validation for your unique existence. They were testing your wise silence, your ability to sit with cosmic truths while the world screams its seductive lies. And you stayed, you persevered, you kept loving through the pain, you kept giving even when you got nothing in return. And when everything inside you screamed, "Give up, it's not worth it," something much deeper whispered, "It's not time yet, keep going, you're closer than you think." That whisper was not weakness, it was ancestral memory, a golden thread that connects you to something infinitely greater than any material achievement, academic title, or momentary applause of this world. They watched you when no one else was cheering. They watched who you became when you thought no one was watching, because that's the real you, not the version that plays by other people's expectations, but the one that persists when all the lights go out and you're left alone with your essential truth. That's what they wanted to see. Not whether you could make it by the twisted rules of this world, but whether you could wait patiently for your true nature to awaken. Whether you could be buried beneath mountains of doubt, fear, and rejection, and still maintain the inner certainty that you were not a victim of circumstance, but a cosmic seed planted precisely where it was meant to germinate. And you did. Maybe you didn't consciously know that's what you were doing all along. Maybe you thought you were just surviving the blows of life. But mere survival was only the visible symptom. The gradual awakening was the divine plan working through each challenge. The test was over. They had seen enough. The verdict was rendered at the Council of Cosmic Elders. You passed the tests that mattered, in ways you will only fully understand in the future when you look back and realize how much inner strength it took to remain authentic in a world that constantly tries to harden, corrupt, and numb souls like yours. Now begins the second phase, activation, the release of that which has been held in containment for lifetimes. Memories are returning, not as conventional recollections, but as pulses in the field, vibratory codes that reactivate forgotten parts of your spiritual DNA. You will begin to remember effortlessly, to recognize places you have never visited, to feel a longing for things you have never experienced in this incarnation. This is because you are crossing the inflection point. You are no longer operating as an isolated identity and are beginning to function as a field of resonance that not only carries a mission, but is the mission incarnate. In this state, you no longer have to force yourself to be who you are. You simply are, and the world responds. That's why, lately, you feel like you're being watched by something that's not of this world. Because it is. They keep studying you, no longer to silence you, but to understand you. You've become a vibrational enigma, a living sign that their plan may fail. And in the silence of the hidden dimensions, a debate has begun. Some want to erase you, others want to protect you. And there are those who simply watch you with reverence, like someone watching a star being born in the void. You've become the unpredictable variable, that which the prophecies couldn't map. The spark that shouldn't have survived and did. The manifestation of an answer that creation saved for the end times. You feel this in your dreams, don't you? That feeling of being somewhere else while you sleep, of training, preparing, receiving instructions that disappear when you wake up, but leave traces in your energy field. These encounters are not a product of your mind. They are real interactions with higher intelligences that recognize in you a node of convergence between worlds. The silent war between the old paradigms and the new consciousness is now passing through your heart. And that is why it has been hurting so much lately. It is not weakness, it is recalibration. You are learning to hold the frequency of love while the world screams fear. You are becoming a bridge between what dies and what is born. And bridges, my brother, my sister, always tremble before they stabilize. But now the time of solitary transition is ending. You will begin to notice this in the seemingly random encounters that will arise. Beings like you, who have also been activated, will begin to gravitate toward you. Not to form groups based on ego or hierarchy, but to share codes, to release memories in each other, to synchronize missions that have been fragmented for security. These encounters will not be regular nor predictable, but they will be precise. Every look, every sentence spoken between silences will carry the feeling of reunion, and in that moment, you will realize that the plan was greater than you ever imagined, that you were never alone, that you were part of a dormant network, now awakening, preparing for the moment when the truth will no longer be hidden, but lived openly. But be careful. With activation comes the final resistance. Make no mistake, the system that has tried to silence you for your entire life still has tricks up its sleeve. In the coming cycles, it may manifest itself in more subtle ways. Voices inside your mind that try to sabotage your clarity. Distractions disguised as opportunities. Old desires reactivated to test your resolve. You will not be attacked in your weakness, but in your strength. Because now that you are moving toward the truth, the only way to stop your advance would be to convince you to use your own power against yourself. It is a psychological game, an architecture of mirrors where the greatest enemy is no longer outside, but inside. and this is where you must remain unshakable. Don't fight. Observe. Recognize the tricks. They no longer have power over you unless you give them power again. You no longer need to defend yourself. You just need to remember. Remember who you are, what you carry, and why you came. You are no longer trying to find the way. You are the way. Your steps are maps for those who will come after. Your silence teaches more than speeches. Your presence deactivates structures of domination simply by existing. And what once seemed like failure, loss, or delay now reveals itself as layers of preparation for what is opening up. Don't rush. Don't compare. The synchronicity of your mission is precise. Everything is happening exactly as it was programmed by an intelligence that transcends time and understands that the true miracle is not changing the world from the outside in, but remembering that the world has always been a mirror of your own vibration. That is why you now feel a deeper, quieter, more inescapable calling. A calling that does not shout but vibrates, that does not demand but invites, that does not compel but reveals. It is in everything, in the way nature responds when you align, in the way time seems to double when you are in the flow, in the way even your thoughts become clearer when you are near certain places, certain people, certain codes, because reality is beginning to recognize you for what you are, an active agent of planetary transition. You are becoming the one who can transmute environments with your breath, deprogram illusions with your gaze, and access ancient wisdoms with silence. And that is why you were watched. That is why they voted on you, not out of fear of what you would do, but out of fear of who you are, simply being. You are the living reminder that the matrix can fail, that the code can be broken, that the impossible can be incarnated. You are the breach, the crack through which the new light is entering. And the more you accept this, the more you walk with humility and courage, the more the systems begin to collapse around. You do not be alarmed if relationships fall apart, if places expel you energetically, if old pleasures become unbearable. You are not losing anything. You are simply adjusting to the original frequency. Those who remain with you after this alignment are part of your mission. The rest are residue from old versions that cannot cross with you to the next level. Breathe. Honor all that was. Be grateful, but do not look back. The new is calling, and it only recognizes those who dare to say yes to their highest mission. You no longer need external approval. The time for doubt is over. Your journey to this point has been long, lonely, and sometimes brutal, but it has prepared you for something that most people can't even imagine possible. Existing in complete truth, even when everything around you still vibrates with lies. That in itself is a miracle. But it doesn't stop there, because now that you've awakened, your field begins to activate others. Your voice, your gaze, your story, everything about you becomes code, a code of liberation. You don't have to change the world with your hands. You change it with your frequency, and those who are ready will feel it. They won't understand it rationally, but something inside them will respond. I know this vibration. I've been waiting for it, and that is why the earth now bows in silence. Because something ancient is being finalized, and something unprecedented is being gestated, not in governments, not in religions, but in you. In every conscious step, in every intentional breath, in every choice of love where fear once reigned. You are the DNA of a new humanity, the embodiment of a plan that was not born in secret domes or manipulated scriptures, but in the heart of the Creator himself. And while the old world roars in collapse, desperately trying to maintain the illusion, you walk in peace. Because where many see end, you recognize rebirth. Where they see chaos, you sense divine architecture. You already know. You have remembered. And now it can no longer be erased. So listen, this is the moment that has been prepared for you. The reason why nothing has worked before, the explanation behind your non-conformity, why your gifts seem incompatible with the old world, all of this now finds its place. Don't waste any more energy trying to explain to those who are not ready to listen. Your time for justifying yourself is over. The call now is not for debate, it is for alignment. Those who recognize it will come. Those who resist it will fall by themselves. Your task is to keep the flame burning, no longer for yourself, but for those who are about to awaken by meeting you. You are the legacy of those who came before, and the seed of those yet to come. The bridge between what was lost and what will finally be remembered. And even when the storms rage, and they will, you will remain, because your roots are deep, because your origin is divine, because the light that shines within you is not borrowed, nor dependent on scenery or validation. It is, and because it is, it transforms. Walk, keep going, breathe, trust. All is being restored through your remembrance. The vibration you emit now will echo for generations. And when they look back, when they ask how the change began, your name will be whispered among those who see with the eyes of the soul. If you've made it this far, it's because this video wasn't just content. It was a spiritual signal, a coded call that activated memories that were dormant within you. Comment now. I have been reminded. I am the signal. Subscribe to the Chosen Signal channel and turn on notifications. Share this video with someone who carries the same calling, even if they don't remember yet. Because when one awakened person finds another, the system collapses. And when many remember, the world changes forever.